Cheers. Welcome. Nice to have you here. It's been a long time since we've last seen each other. Yes, we know each other for a while. We both served in the same platoon, in a recce platoon. So, nice to have you here.
Well, thanks for the invite. Great to be here and great to see you again.
Okay, just a little introduction. We know each other, like I said, from the same platoon. You were medic SF at the time, medic special forces. Too bad we went overseas together, but we had a great time at our unit, and that's where it all began. Well, you are now a SEER instructor for the Dutch Armed Forces, and you came here to tell us something about SEER, which is quite unique for Dutch standards. Yes, you are not recognizable in the image.
Yeah, that's more to do with the fact that I've got a face for the radio rather than the fact that it's got a specific mission profile. Yeah.
Not because of OPSEC.
No,
Operational
I thought we
security.
better not risk that lens of yours.
Okay, great. First, a brief background about SEER. Can you kick it off?
Sure. So SEER has its roots in the Second World War, when we first started to use aircraft on a large scale. And of course, where there are aircraft, there are men and women, mostly men, who are being shot down. And we found that a significant number of personnel would find themselves behind enemy lines. In order to give these men a chance of getting back without being captured, SEER was developed as part of a much larger process in order to give these men a fighting chance.
So my interest into SEER and survival got sparked when I found the books of Lofty Wiseman, the SES Survival Handbook, and Bravo to Zero. It was later on during reconnaissance school that I got exposed to the escape and evasion exercise. I loved it, and then of course you and I had the escape and evasion experience in Norway, being chased by the Norwegian Hunter Force. I don't need to tell you, fantastic time. And so when the opportunity to join SEER school and to follow the course there, I grabbed it with both hands.
Well, my experience with SEER, at the time we were not trained by the SEER school itself, but we were trained in a similar manner by our own instructors with E&E escape and evasion lessons and exercises. And we even did some E&E exercise together, like you mentioned, in Norway. Now, as far as I can remember, it was quite exhausting. Lots of walking, a little sleep. Our goal was exfiltration, returning to friendly forces as quickly as possible and evading the enemy. You're now SEER instructor for Dutch Armed Forces. If you are ready, then I will ask the first question. For who is SEER?
Okay, so SEER has undergone a major development in recent years. The Dutch military has decided that SEER training is for all. And this is to give our fighting men and women the best chance of survival if they've ever become isolated from their own unit. However, there is a caveat, and that is that SEER training has now been contained within different levels. 3 different levels, depending upon several factors to which level of training you will receive.
You talked about different levels of SEER training. Which are the different levels?
Okay, so we've got level A to C, with level A being meant for all military personnel. Then we've got level C, which is meant for your special units and your flight personnel. And of course we've got level B cemented directly in the middle, and that's meant for your infantry.
Okay, all fighting personnel.
Almost all, yeah.
Okay, check. Okay, there's a difference between civilian survival and in this case military survival. What is the difference?
Okay, so as you can imagine is that a civilian, generally speaking, wants to be found by any or all, whereas a military member who's on the run only wants to be found by his own men.
Yes, yeah.
This is what makes it so challenging, because on the one hand you're running away from the enemy towards your friendly troops, trying to make contact. That contact has to be seen by one party and definitely can't be seen by the other party.
Evasion. Survival is already a challenge, but being hunted by a hostile force is worst case scenario. You don't want to get killed or grabbed by the enemy.
So although I won't go into specific techniques or TTPs here, I can tell you that enemy personnel finding themselves behind enemy lines will use all the knowledge in order to evade the enemy. This on the one hand means that they will apply the 7S of camouflage and concealment. That means that they'll make sure that they won't have anything rattling, eliminating noise or sound, that they won't be smoking, eliminating smell, and they have a couple of other techniques to make sure that they blend in with nature. On the other hand, he or her will be reading what they call the lay of the land. They will be using the terrain to their advantage. So that means that they won't use obvious cover or travel through places where the enemy might be lurking, but that they'll use the terrain in such a manner to make it the enemy as difficult as possible.
Resistance. Maybe the worst part, mentally and physically. Captured by the enemy, by a hostile force. What now?
Well, you absolutely said that right. Being captured by the enemy is possibly every service member's worst nightmare. There are two things that a captured soldier will have go through his mind. One, he wants to avoid being exploited by the enemy for their purposes, and in turn making sure that his living situation is as comfortable and as endurable as possible. Secondly, he wants to make sure that he can return home with his dignity intact. Of course, that's for everyone different, but you can imagine that he or her will want to leave early via permissible or non-permissible ways in order to get extracted by his own forces.
Extraction. Well, most countries SEER's last E stands for escape. Well, we use extraction. Why is that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In some countries you pledge to the duty that at any point of being captured you should try and escape at the earliest possible opportunity. However, you can imagine that this is one of the most dangerous stages of the captured person's chapter. What's far more important is that a person is being extracted safely, because this is a very risky endeavor, not only for the person himself, but also for the rescue forces coming in to get him or her. Also, once somebody has escaped, the survival situation does not end there. He may find himself in terrain that's inhospitable and is very hard to survive in. And secondly, he finds himself being chased by enemy who are probably close by. So the chances of success are very slim indeed.
Can you tell us something about extraction?
Extraction is of course one of the most difficult parts of the whole series. As you can imagine, it brings great risk not only to the escapee but also to the rescue forces.
Yes. Yeah.
However, the procedures I cannot go into for obvious reasons, but I must admit that the extraction chapter was one of the most interesting parts of the whole course.
How did you experience your SEER training?
Well, as you can imagine, as an avid outdoor person and somebody with a big military background like yourself, it was fantastic. I enjoyed every minute. Surely challenging, but definitely something that I did not want to miss. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for your time. I think I will take this opportunity and invite you to this Q&A, but also to catch up and have a nice time snoring in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. It's definitely been a good catch up and looking forward to sharing some war stories over a good fire. Cheers.
Drink to that. Cheers. Once again, thank you for your time. I want to give you the Fred Outdoor badge.
Mate, that's an awesome patch. Truly is. Thanks, mate. That's honestly real surprise. Nice.
Great.
I'm gonna wear it with pride.